Check for sound. Check for power.
All systems online.
Welcome back, friends. Hey, listen, today I got one hell of a show for you. Former UFC veteran Jessica Evil Eye is on the show. She just got a huge victory over in bare knuckle fighting. So we're gonna ask her, about her journey over in bare knuckle, and we're gonna probably talk a little music. We'll probably get into that too. So Jessica Eye coming up here in just a few minutes on this show. I just do want to remind people this is going to be the final week. If you want to get the incarceration tickets, it's so simple. All you have to do, 3 very easy things. Subscribe to the channel you're watching right now if you're watching this on YouTube. So just go ahead, subscribe, give the video a like too while you're there. I mean, you're there already. Come on. And then follow me on TikTok at Real Jeremy Loper, and follow me on Instagram at Jeremy Loper. Those 3 things I know you're in. I'm going to choose a name at random. We've already chosen a few names previously last month, and the final winner will be chosen this week. So if you haven't done that, get in for Incarceration.
Incarceration, America's rock, metal, and tattoo festival with Slipknot. Falling in Reverse. 5-Finger Death Punch. Plus Marilyn Manson, 3 Days Grace, Beartooth, Knocked Loose, Lamb of God, Parkway Drive, I Prevail, In This Moment, and so many more. Report to the Ohio State Reformatory on July 18th through 20th, 2025 to face your sentencing. 3 days of rock, tattoos, and the return of the Haunted Blood Prison. Passes for Incarceration are on sale now at incarceration.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get into it. My conversation with Jessica Evil Eye.
What's up, Jeremy? Thank you for having me.
Yes. It's funny. Only the females in my life that actually are close to me call me Jeremy. So
Oh yeah.
You just joined us a very special pack.
Okay. So what do you like to be called? I guess I've talked with you so many times. I feel like I'm the evil eye, right? Jessica Eye. What's
Right.
yours?
Everybody calls me Loper, like it's gym class.
Okay.
You know what I mean, forever.
Loper.
But hey, you're allowed to call me Jeremy, just so you know. Especially after seeing your last performance at Bare Knuckle Fighting. I mean, of course, everybody that's watching knows veteran of the UFC. I mean, we watched all of those fights. When you actually retired, I mean, I had a little bit of a tear in my eye.
Aww.
Like you said, we've been communicating back and forth online. We have the Westside Barbell connection. And I was sad to see you exit the UFC, and I know when you did, there was a lot going on in your life. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I feel like, we think sometimes like we forget fighters are normal people, right? Like that they go through things in their life, and sometimes we only base that upon their wins and losses. So, where I got towards the end of my career, I was so sick. I think a lot of people didn't really understand, right? They just had seen me missing weight and, really just kind of chalked up to like just guys, not, able to compete at this level. But what really had happened was I contracted a parasite when I returned to 125. I'd fought over in Singapore against Jessie Jess, which was my second fight back at 125. Right? We were killing it. We're like, eyes back at her normal weight class. She's going to fight for a world title. And unfortunately, when I fought over there, I ended up eating a parasite that sent me on almost a 7 year of just terrible health. I mean, I lost my gallbladder, I got sepsis, I got E. coli. I mean, I developed severe allergies to eggs, chicken, and so many things that, once I got to that, after we finally had found out that it was a parasite, right? That's 2022, March of 2022. The UFC basically is like, Jessica, like, we love you, but you're coming off, some losses. You've had health issues. We don't really know how to help you. And, you got to fight this. Well, only like, I would say a month and a half before my retirement fight, the parasite finally came out. I finally got it we finally killed it and it came out of my body.
Now, is it true that you didn't really know it was a parasite until deep into your, your exploration, trying to figure out what was wrong with you?
Yeah, I had gotten colonoscopies, endoscopies. They removed my gallbladder, said that was the issue. Took the more traditional doctor route of being able to try to figure out what was wrong with me. It wasn't until I started working with a good old Cleveland native. Her name is Kylene Bogdan. She's hired by the Cleveland Cavaliers, and a lot of professional athletes use her. A lot of Dr. Chad Tague, he worked with a bunch of CrossFitters, so he had introduced me to her. And I finally was like, Kylene, I don't know what's going on with me. Can you please help me? So she knew what test to do. So we ended up doing a stool test and we found it out of my gut bacteria and everything. And parasites swallow their own DNA. So
Yeah.
most times you can't find them unless are smart enough to know it. And then, we went on this crazy cleanse, holistic. It was an holistic company, but it was pharmaceutical grade
Okay.
cloves, black walnut, all of that. I was just exhausted.
Yeah.
I didn't want to necessarily retire, but I also didn't want to get my packing papers because I didn't fight my best fight.
Right.
So I used the opportunity to kind of close off things in that way, with the UFC.
Yeah. You know what? That's actually kind of poetic in a certain way. Is it true that a psychic told you about it first or no?
Yeah, I didn't want to go too juju with you. So yeah, check it out. I met this spirit worker and connected with her and had some conversations. She said to me, she's actually said a lot of things. She said, Jessica, until you put your health first, you're never going to be a world champ. But I see a world champ in your future. She said that, so we don't know, maybe BKFC. You never know, right? Um, but she said to me, she goes, I know you've been dealing with these health issues, you need to start taking black walnut. You have a parasite, Jessica. And I took that to the dietitian. I said, I don't know how much you believe in juju, but I was told this. And she was like, I'm for juju. Yes. So even when we did the cleanse, right? I was going through like all the medicines. I got really sick. They pulled me off of it. And she goes, Jessica, you have to trust me. On the next full moon, we're going to take the medicine this way. The day after the full moon, it happened. I showed the pictures. About 3 foot dead parasite came out my butt.
That is insane, actually.
I
Wow. So I had no
know.
idea. I was always wondering if that story was true. So it is true.
It's absolutely, it's
Wow.
100% true.
Did she tell you anything else that's happened so far?
Yeah, she did. She told me that until she also said that until I put myself first in my physical body, I'm never going to be able to perform at my highest level, that I'm more confident when I'm at my strong version. So that kind of goes back to how much I've taken nutrition seriously, how much I've worked back with the whole Westside Barbell strength and conditioning programs. I
Right.
really took a different dive on strength and conditioning that, I mean, we seen how I looked for my fight. Me being able to come out and just feel my best and look my best makes me, look good, feel good, And she said, you have to take yourself seriously. And, you know, I have been.
Yeah. Well, so was there a little bit of like a slope between the UFC and BKFC? Did you feel lost for a second?
Oh yeah, unfortunately, feel like I did what every fighter does. We self-sabotaged for a little bit. Found myself in trouble with the law back in Ohio because I moved back from Vegas to Cleveland,
Right.
and unfortunately, some things followed me and caused me to get in trouble and really, really slow down and reevaluate my life. And one of the reasons I got into fighting, I was a heavy child abuse victim. Unfortunately, grew up very tough, and I felt like that's what brought me to fighting. And I used that for so long to be the reason why I was successful. That when fighting was no longer there and that consistency and that accountability, I didn't know how to create it for myself. And, that was, volatile, but it took me to position to, spent time healing. I spent time at a women's PTSD facility in South Florida and
Okay.
really took my healing very much so as important that I started dabbling in psilocybin, right? Because I've heard a lot about brain trauma with it, and I'd
Yeah.
had other fighters talk to me about it, but I'm not the kind of person that wants to go take mushrooms and go out and about. Like I want to use them spiritually.
Sure. Yeah.
So in November, right, I had been in, now Florida for a couple months. I got my real estate license, got my life insurance license, was like, all right, professional Jess, time to put the glasses on and do the professional side. But it was still so empty and it just wasn't going in the direction I wanted to. That I had 2 grams of mushrooms and I held them in my hand and I prayed to God and said, God, I just don't know where I'm supposed to be going. I just need some help. Keep guiding me, keep guiding me through your light, keep guiding me through your faith. I got a call from my manager later that day saying, hey, Jess, what's it going to take for you to get in the bare knuckle ring with them? And I was like, maybe we need to explore this a little bit.
Yeah. That's like really your background because you had what, like 4 or 5 professional boxing fights before the UFC, correct?
Yeah, I had boxing. I started boxing. Me and Stipe both did, right? I feel like people don't really know the story of like how we came up. You know, we came from the same team. We boxed first before we ever even had our first MMA fights as amateurs. So, you know, I boxing was what I learned first. I mean, the Giacchetti brothers were mine and Stipe's first coach, and that's Mike
Oh,
Tyson and Larry Holmes's coach. So
yeah,
people
yeah.
wonder where we learned that jab. That was from them.
That's awesome. So, I mean, once you get into bare knuckle, I mean, like once you get into the building, like when they were wrapping your hands that night, were you like, oh shit, this is really happening?
You know what's so crazy is like, well, first of all, when they wrap my hands, I'm like, this is it. this is this is crazy. This is
It is so
crazy. Like,
different, right? It's so light.
oh, I mean, it was even loose. I don't know if you saw me, like I like pulled it down during the rounds. But it was just totally like we were trying to be throughout my camp so strategic and the
Mhm.
perfect wrap. And that was not even what happened on fight night. But you know what's so crazy is like after visualizing everything and just like kind of knowing, you know, where I wanted, which I still got a couple black eyes. um, you know, I knew that no matter what was going to happen, right? My one of my coaches is a Marine War vet and veteran, and you know, I looked at him and I said this on fight week. I said, "I'm not going to die. I'm not going to die. Like, what's the worst that could happen to me? I get two black eyes, right? And I don't win, which isn't going to happen, right? So, I felt like I don't know. I didn't have the nerves like I did always going into those UFC fights. I mean, my ego was damaged after every UFC fight, win, lose, or draw, you
Yeah.
know, and I just didn't go into it with that way. I don't know. I just felt like it was another day. I mean, I was literally sitting in the back with my hands crossed, tapping my foot, like, oh, we're going to go to work.
I mean, you looked incredible. I mean, you absolutely put on a clinic. You know, obviously, everybody that is a fan of yours and everybody that loves watching you perform, everybody wants to know. I mean, are you going to go straight for the title at BKFC?
You know, there's so first of all, there was so much like, you know, the I don't like to go to the air like to the side of talking, you know, shit about people. I'm not for it, right? The fights I want it to be left in there. Right? That's a part of me and my healing journey. I know people are gonna be like, oh, it doesn't sell fights. It does, you know, because badasses sell badass fights when they fight good.
Sure, absolutely.
But, you know, going into this, it was super paramount for me to get my first fight under my record, you know, and under my belt for me to feel like making any other decisions. But how disrespectful would it be for me just to be like, oh, I deserve this title shot or I go in that direction? And I know that maybe Christine and the league might want that. But to be honest, like, let me have a little bit of fun here, right? Like, let me do what I'm good at, you know, like let's build something bigger, right? Like let's, you know, like Christine, right? If I know there's been so much trash talk, you know, like I think there needs to be a level to it, right? Like we don't need to, I don't want to like go too deep into it, but you know, the Ollie act, right? Like I don't want to just jump over all these girls that have been there for so long. Like I just don't, that doesn't sit right with me, right? And
Oh,
as much as people are like, Jessica, who cares? I care. And I have to go to, you know, I have to go to sleep with that mentality. So, no, I'd like to get one more fight, go out there and enjoy myself one more time, you know, and let the division keeps working itself out and we'll see.
yeah. So
I
outside
mean,
of
but
the
money talks, you know.
oh, I mean, hell yeah. Outside of the black eyes, do you feel like there was no injury taken during the fight or anything like that?
Everybody has been asking me. I was actually just talking with the champ, Jessica Borga, which awesome, badass fighter, super cool. We made a really good connection with each other, so I'm gonna get to train with her. But my hands had nothing. I didn't have one bruise on my hand. I didn't have any issues. Unfortunately, every fight, I feel like even in my UFC fights, my cheekbones, they always get hit. I always walk away with black eyes, no matter what. But no, I mean, to be very honest, felt very healthy, felt very, you know, really walked away with minimal injury.
I mean, what would be the turnaround time for you?
I want to fight in November,
November.
ideally,
Yeah.
right? Let's get one more. And, you know, I hope BKFC, you know, is willing to create some hype around this division. Or, you know, I might ask, you know, MVP, might start talking with those guys too, like wherever the opportunity is the best at, you know. And for myself, I want to enjoy these last couple years of fighting and do it really well. And to be honest, I like boxing way more than MMA. I feel like MMA is so many different ways to win and so many different ways to lose. Like, you know, boxing is just pretty standard.
Yeah, I mean, your performance was incredible, and even over in like you were saying with MVP with Jake Paul and those guys. I mean, they've created a women's division that's almost unparalleled in boxing right now.
And they had signed Holly Holmes, another fellow,
Yeah,
UFC girl. And, like I'm really, we'll see. I think the world is my apple right now. It's a,
awesome.
depending on how big of a bite I want to take out of it. And, in all reality, if I like fighting is for me now. I don't have to necessarily be doing it for money, and I want to do it for just my glory, for the fun of it.
So originally, I'm from South Florida, and I saw that you're training down there. So you're in Lauderdale.
Yeah, I'm in Fort Lauderdale currently, and I love it here. I
Yeah,
love
and
it.
what gym did you land at?
So, I didn't take a traditional route, which, obviously when you leave a team like Strong Style, it's really hard to, recreate that. I mean, Marcus is, an amazing coach. I mean, he's been like a father to me my whole life. It wasn't a matter of them not being able to provide something for me. I just needed to see a different version of myself. And I didn't think I was ever going to be able to get that there anymore. Just with my past from Ohio, my childhood trauma, that I needed to just restart. So when I came down here, right, there was no intention to fight. I was working at a UFC fit gym, helping teach some MMA classes. And I came across a gentleman. His name is Zach Leeds. He was a Marine vet. Incredible. I think his story is absolutely amazing. But his vibe was just like, I loved the way watching him lift. His family was incredible. They just had such a good vibe to him.
Yeah,
So when I got the call right about it, I reached out to Zach. And again, him knowing my Westside Barbell mentality, like they would joke at me when I would be like pissed off at people for not putting their weights away. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with people? Like, I remember watching Tom throw a fucking weight one time at somebody, for not doing things correctly. So me being in commercial gym life compared to like private gym life was such a new vibe for me. So when I got that call, I reached out to him and I was like, "Hey, look, I really need a head coach, someone that can push me to be the best." But I also know he had friend, a guy named Brian Gallagher, who
Mm,
is actually out in Wisconsin, who has a company called the Dark Side of Strength, which is Westside Barbell. He builds strength and conditioning programs for athletes specifically. So I'm like, all right, you guys are a great fit. I got my old roots that can really reinstill things that I already know. And then I got this Marine coach who was just like kill or be killed mentality, matter of fact. And I'm like, he's like, Jessica, I can't teach you how to fight. I said, I don't need you to teach me how to fight. I already know how to do that. You need to make me strong and in as shape as possible. And, we did that. We spent multiple weeks, building these programs throughout different strength levels that I went through. Again, going back to, the West Side Barbell, the winning ways, we pretty much, that was the basis of our strength and conditioning. I mean, a winning warm up followed by our S&C work, followed by accessory work. That was specifically to Jessica. And I think that that's why fighters sometimes get a little screwed up here. And this is only my advice to them. We train as a team, but individually we are all different. So
yeah,
my strength and conditioning program was so specific. And I worked with, I met Louis when I was 19 years old,
yeah.
and it's so funny because you see my chubby little face in the West Side documentary, and I just giggle at it because to be able to now utilize the West Side Barbell system in a way that is specifically to me is just incredible. And it made a difference. I mean, I was so strong, had an amazing weight cut, and I felt like I really wasn't doing too many new things, if that makes sense. Right.
Right.
Like I've been in the West Side Barbell system. I know what it looks like.
And that is like something that fighters make, I think, a bad choice on sometimes when you go into a fight and you completely change everything and you start training completely differently than you did before.
Yeah, I think that foundationally, my strength is one of my best attributes. So
Yeah.
when we make that its strongest, like when we were able to literally rebuild my body right after that parasite, and it had finally gotten to the point that my body rebounded, my weight regulated, I could start eating normal foods again. Like it took a long time for my body to get back to it. It was a cancer, essentially. So, to see where we went from and to where we are now, I can't wait to keep going and I can't wait to keep getting stronger. These guys have been just paramount to everything that I've done. I mean, And again, the guys love shouting them out. The Dark Side of Strength out in Wisconsin, amazing group of guys, who are all about the Westside Barbell system. Like, I just love knowing that it's universal. I love when I see people wearing Westside Barbell
Yeah.
shirts and creating those programs based upon, all that. Like, God bless Louis.
When I first got to Westside, like if you saw somebody else with a Westside shirt on, I mean, they trained there.
Yeah.
And
You
then
didn't used to just see people buying them as regular t-shirts now.
you didn't see it. One year at the Arnold, it all changed. I'm like, this is fucking crazy. I'm like, look at all, because I would see a shirt and I'd be like, oh, is that? Oh no, I don't know you. You bought that on the internet.
Yeah. I remember seeing people do that. And
But it's great to see the brand spread though, and people get to be a part of it. And that is really cool.
well, to see somebody who loved the West Side Barbell system, and then to know Louis, and then to know how these guys are and they're repping it, like they're nailing it. The Dark Side of Strength, and what a cool name, because that's essentially what it was. Like, people didn't understand the dark side of strength and conditioning, and if it wasn't for Louis, some of these pinnacle training modalities wouldn't be out there if it wasn't for him and his trial and error.
Yeah, for sure. So what do you listen to? What's your musical choices when you're just kind of, I don't know, when you're in the gym, when you're hanging out, like what does Jessica I listen to?
Oh man, I'm all over the place. Like, I can go from like some Led Zeppelin, ZZ Top, to like some Billie Eilish, Lana Del Rey, to some old school Tupac. I feel
Yeah.
like it always resonates with what's going on with me. That it goes down to like this past fight week, I couldn't make a decision, right? I'm like, do I go old school AC/DC like I had done Hell's Bells,
Yeah.
or Led Zeppelin, or do I come out with some rap, some like thug stuff? And I was sitting there with my coach, and just we were listening to Korn, and I was like, coming undone. That's right. Like, and then even like kind of knowing Jonathan Davis's story and about the things that he went through and what he's overcome, that we were literally just sitting there like, Wednesday, like, this is it. We're coming out to this song. So it takes me a while to resonate with my fight song, right? But a lot of times I always choose it based upon the words, right? Like,
Okay.
so dark, so dark, but so delicate, right? Everything about that song resonated with the moment,
I love, I love that. Hey, thanks so much for being available to be on the show today. I mean, this has been an incredible interview. You're such a light in a very violent world.
Yes. That's kind of what I want to bring, right? Like, we already have enough violence. This is my therapy. I'm a happy girl. I go into therapy, release, and, just spread joy as much as I can.
I love that. And we can't wait to see you at BKFC in the near future. And hopefully, maybe around this time next year, you'll be wearing that strap.
Oh, I love it. Let's go.
Let's go. You were so shredded at weigh-ins. I couldn't. Do you ever look at your pictures and go, holy shit, I'm Shred City right now?
Oh, I'm not even kidding you. My strength, like, dude, they nailed this weight cut. Like, I literally want to be like, you guys need to hire my team. Like, these guys are, oh, they nailed. Like, I was eating on weigh-in morning, and we didn't want to come in at 124.8. We were 12 hours ahead, so just gives us more room. But yeah, I love being shredded now. I'm loving it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jessica I. Thanks so much.
Incarceration, America's rock, metal, and tattoo festival with Slipknot. Falling in Reverse. 5-Finger Death Punch. Plus Marilyn Manson, 3 Days Grace, Beartooth, Knocked Loose, Lamb of God, Parkway Drive, I Prevail, In This Moment, and so many more. Report to the Ohio State Reformatory on July 18th through 20th, 2025 to face your sentencing. 3 days of rock, tattoos, and the return of the Haunted Blood Prison. Passes for incarceration are on sale now at incarceration.com.
Hey, thanks for watching today, guys. Thanks so much to Jessica I for being on the show. How fun was that? I mean, she's the best, right? I mean, incredible. Hey, subscribe to the channel. Give the video a like. Really appreciate you guys. The support you show me, I can't even say thank you enough. I truly, truly appreciate it. And I will see you on the next show. It's going to be number 31. Can you believe it already, guys?